So what do you think of DJing in an SUV, ergonomically speaking?
It's not necessarily complimentary to full-figured men like myself.
He's arrived in the Dingo shuttle.
See, now it's dueling.
Ooh, dual vloggers.
Max Vlogosity.
Is that actually on?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we're meeting down here for some coffee and lunch, and to talk about the new Numark, which we're going to play with here shortly, and give our first impressions. So, but we need food first.
For sure. Feed the big man. It's Free Pie Wednesday.
While Mo and I ate some sandwiches and free pie, we talked about the latest Numark product, the Mixstream Pro, and how we wanted to showcase it for the channel. While tossing around ideas, I mentioned that I'd have to take a break and pick up our daughter from school. And then we said, well, this thing's supposed to be pretty portable. Let's just bring it on the road. So that's what we ultimately decided to do. Just see if we could play a truly mobile gig in the car. But first, we needed to go back home and take it out of the box. We were actually getting together so that Mo could take some drama shots for the proper full review video that I put together for our friends over at the DJ Hookup. I've put a link to that video below. In this video, you'll get our very first impressions.
All right, ready to open this bad boy up?
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, what do we got on top here? Some propaganda taped to the top. So connect, stream, and play. It's got registration information, and then it tells you the 3 different ways you can play using your standalone streaming apps like Beatport Link, your personal cloud, Dropbox like we were talking about, or the what I guess would now be considered the traditional way, which is USB key or SD card.
Looks like we have in here, just a power connector along with our 3-pong.
That's nice and small, I like that.
Yeah, for sure. I hate when I have a big block that's like the size of the controller.
Your standard IEC cable.
Some more propaganda in there?
Yeah, as we see with a lot of in-music brands, you get actually really nice little sort of welcoming package here that has like stickers and stuff in it. So you've got some nice little Numark logos right there. Hey, Tony DeCero's here. Just hiding off camera. Here, you want to keep going on?
For sure.
Tony?
So it comes with a nice cleaning cloth as well, because I'm sure we don't have enough of these in our lives. Instruction guide, which is kind of interesting because a lot of times they don't come with instructions anymore. You know, they just refer you to a website. So
Yeah,
for people like me that are serial killers and like to touch things, it's kind of cool to have that present. Actual USB cable, warranty information and safety information. All right, and the big reveal. Okay, so again, at that price point, so it's light, it's made of plastic for sure, but it feels pretty sturdy. It's got that matte finish, so you won't get those fingerprints like I know Trip hates, like you get on the DDJ 1000, like mine is laden with fingerprints and I have to clean it after every event.
So we've got little effects paddles, kind of like a battle mixer style.
Yeah,
so that's
that was one thing I was really excited to see. And they're actually got some nice good throw to them. They're not metal.
They feel better than the S7, but not as good as the rain mixers.
Yeah, I was super happy to see these pedals on there because normally you only get that on a battle mixer because I don't know that I've seen many controllers with the paddle.
Pretty short throw pitch faders, but they're longer than they look. I mean, when you actually move them.
And they're pretty sturdy, but it does have that click to it, so I know that'll drive some people crazy.
Yeah, the center click. So this is your high pass, low pass filter. That's an interesting location for that.
Yeah.
Never seen that before. Of course, you've got your browse knob, and then you've got load decks 1 and 2 on either side. So rather than clicking this, you probably click this in to browse through crates and stuff, but then choose your deck here and load. Other than that, it's a very standard, you know, Serato-y type of layout.
Jog wheels feel heavier than they look, but still travel nice.
Those are pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right, so what we're gonna do now is Mo's gonna take some fancy cam shots of this thing so that we can use them in the proper review video putting together. I'm going to shout out the DJ Hookup right now because they're the ones that made this video possible, and for the actual final produced review video, that's where you're going to want to look. So when that's done, we will link that in the description below. But for now, let's take some fancy pants shots. So Mo's got a power inverter that we're going to try plugging into the cigarette lighter of this car because it doesn't have a plug. And then we're going to plug this into it. And then we're going to connect it to a hotspot on our phone. And then we're going to go pick my daughter up from school.
Meanwhile, I look like I'm building bombs over here with all these cables.
Inverted?
We were inverted.
Nothing like trying to DJ, be a passenger and a content producer, an audio engineer, monitor vocals all at the same time.
All right.
Is it power on?
Lights.
Awesome. That's a good first start. You know, the funny thing about this is my wife's car and her stereo doesn't properly work. So this is actually a valid solution we're providing right now.
What? How does her stereo not work?
It decides when it wants to work.
Oh. That's just lovely.
We can listen to FM.
Okay.
So far it's just like setting up a regular gig.
Yeah, no shit.
We didn't get audio before the highway. Where's the DJ?
Okay, so you put source and then the USB drive?
Hit source there on the screen and say Dropbox. See where it's at the top left?
Source, Dropbox. Okay, what's your password?
Nobody joined my personal hotspot.
Connected. All right.
This feels just like the Terrence Parker event. Like we're
Just
trying to get the sound going at the last second. We have sound.
And we have some echo effect.
All right, you're mobile DJing, Mo, finally.
After all these years.
Turn that up. My daughter just texted saying, have I been forgotten? She panics if we're 1 minute late.
I don't have the, I'm monitoring with the headphones. I'm not
Yeah.
queuing, so everything's a little hosed up.
Yeah, but you just successfully technically DJ'd in the car. Like you just did a transition. She's like, what?
She's like, 1, why is Mo in the car? 2, why are you filming me?
Hi, you have a resident DJ in the car pick you up. We're doing a mobile review. Now you're part of it. What do you think?
Okay.
So how loud does that thing get? And still
This is
sound
like
okay?
about 80%. This is slowly maxing out here.
It sounds good, but it's not real loud. And what I wanted to kind of know was, is it sufficiently loud to act as a monitor? You know what I mean? Like a booth out. For the use case of something like, well, like this, which is, you know, just us being silly, but also something like a little hotel party, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you can't rock out, but you want it to sound good. Especially if you're like you in an apartment or a duplex or something like that with shared walls, you know?
Well, not only that, because I don't have to bring my laptop.
You're right.
And, you know, that's
It's
half the
truly
battle
portable.
right there.
Yeah. Because we're using Dropbox as our source, which is cool to just be driving around and using that, but we've got the USB stick sticking out, so Mo has to be kind of careful.
Hazard,
yeah, it's a bit of a hazard there. But Numark didn't come out with this for driving around and DJing necessarily,
no.
You know, but I would say I wish it could get just a little bit louder.
I mean, I think you run that fine line because they're essentially like Bluetooth speakers, like you said.
Yeah.
You get to a certain point, it's going to get distorted. And how many idiots out there are going to blow them?
Oh, all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not like the device is gimped by having speakers on it, because it's still fully functional as a standalone DJ device, no matter what. So you can still connect it to your big club system. You can still connect it to a set of powered speakers or a set of near-field monitors or whatever you have, and it's going to sound as good as any other Numark controller.
And I think depending on your setup, you could kind of use this as a monitor. I mean, not ideal, but like, especially if you want to do like a practice session.
Or if you're streaming, maybe something at home where you don't need a lot of
sound,
you just need clear sound.
Yeah.
So I heard the audio cut out a couple of times. Can you tell what that was?
I think it was just me hitting
like
the jog wheel is like super sensitive, but you can adjust all the settings in there as I was kind of digging around.
Okay.
You can adjust the brightness of the screen.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like not getting enough power from the inverter or something like that.
No, I think if it was the inverter, it would just shut down altogether. But for $600, I mean, you don't need a laptop.
Yeah, I mean that's really killer. Like for the price of a budget to mid-range laptop, you get the all-in-one system. Now, obviously, it's 2-channel. You know, it doesn't have like 50 built-in effects like a Pioneer mixer. You know, so there are limitations to it. But the thing is, what they didn't do is come out with something that looks and feels like super cheap and trashy, you know what I mean? Like, and try to cram a bunch of features in, but have a junk product. It's like, let's do a couple of things and do them properly.
It doesn't,
which I think is a much better approach.
It doesn't look like a toy, that's for sure. Easily put in a backpack, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's lighter than putting my laptop in my backpack and carrying a controller.
You know what would be interesting is if we could get one of those like portable battery jump packs and bring it somewhere. I wonder how long it would run at full volume off of something like that.
We can test it out because I got one. That one that I have,
there you go.
It'll recharge my iMac twice, or my MacBook twice.
Of course, if we're adding external batteries and external this and that, we're sort of defeating the spirit of this device, but that's if you're doing all those things. I mean, it's nice to know that there's versatility, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe once in a while it would be cool to hook up to a battery or something, you know, then you kind of have that available to you. If you need that all the time, like your thing is playing on the side of a mountain or whatever, then maybe this isn't the device.
Yeah, obviously the Denon Prime Go.
The Prime Go would be for you. Yeah. You know, taking the portability out of the picture, taking the build quality, all that stuff. This is a Numark standalone controller that runs Engine OS. Okay, so the Pioneer competitor, the only company that's really made waves against like Rekordbox as a standalone platform, is now available on mid-range and budget lines of gear. And what I mean is just not premium Denon Prime stuff.
And not Pioneer.
And that's the nice thing about having a shared parent company, is they can start doing this. So now they have a really solid operating system, and they can carry it out to other. They've perfected it on Prime stuff, and they can carry it over to their other product lines, which is fascinating. It makes you wonder what else they're going to do with that software now that it's kind of modularizing their lineups. Maybe.
And then, but in addition to that, I mean, let's just be real. The interface for Prime Go is very similar to that of Rekordbox.
Right.
So it's just, if you want to learn how to DJ on that type of software, this isn't very far off.
Yeah.
You know, it looks a little different, but the premise is there.
Okay, well, that was a rushed and hurried success, but it was a success. And so it stayed connected, yeah?
Yeah.
just using your phone. And we were driving around in a rural type area.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we definitely weren't like in
we
the
weren't
city
downtown.
where you have 5G. So that's like, it would be like a normal neighborhood. Actually, probably a little bit less ideal than a normal neighborhood. So, yeah, stay connected. This is for you, Trip.
So what do you think of DJing in an SUV, ergonomically speaking?
It's not necessarily complimentary to full-figured men like myself.
Okay, so final thoughts on the Numark Mixstream Pro. What do you think after using it for 20 minutes or so on a car ride?
For the price point and for the fact that you don't need a laptop, I think this is a solid piece of kit for use, probably like we said, house parties, just practicing and farting around. I'd say definitely like 8 out of 10, you know, somewhere around there, because it does so many things that DJs have been asking for so long in the respect of being standalone.
Well, I mean, at $599 too, there's nothing that really competes on the market for that price.
For sure.
The only similar devices are going to be, you know, twice as expensive or more. I'm sure that the built-in battery and stuff has a lot to do with that. But outside of that, I mean, it does anything that an engine device does, which is saying a lot.
For sure.
If you're like me, if you're the kind of DJ that likes to, when they're doing track prep or playlist prep, likes to sort of mix and test transitions and stuff and say, oh, how would this sound going into this mix or into this track or this playlist? This is a great way to do all that right here and kind of do those little test mixes and stuff, and you've even got the speakers built in right there to be able to do that.
And like you said, a good test case for having something with the speakers is if you're like a streaming DJ, if you're on Twitch or Facebook until you get taken down. But yeah, I mean, just you don't need a whole lot of sound when you're pushing stuff out to the internet. So just to have that little bit of reinforced sound, just to give you a monitor of sorts, I think it's pretty solid.
I dig it. All right, man. Well, I'm going to start tearing into the actual full in-depth guts of this thing, do the review. You can check that out at thedjhookup.com. And Mo Dingo, thank you so much for coming over, helping me test this, taking some fancy shots of it. Appreciate you. We'll see y'all next time.
Wash your damn hands.
Keep on spinning.